Growing up, I don't really remember my dad much. When my mom finally came home, I was so happy. I really loved her. One day, not long after that, when I was 11 years old, I came in and found my aunt and my uncle fighting with my mom. I ran into the kitchen and grabbed an ice pick. I went crazy. I can't even remember how many times I stabbed him, but it was enough to end his life, which was the beginning of the end of mine. My mom ended up sending me away, but I didn't even fully understand what I had done. But I knew it was bad. When I finally came home, I learned that my aunt was locked up for killing my uncle. I also learned that I was a father and I had a son named Joey. I got yelled at a lot for being a kid and having a kid of my own. I finally made a decision to take the blame for what I have done. I was placed in a California Youth Authority until I was 17. At that time, a judge gave me the choice to join the military or go to state prison until I turned 25. I joined the Army. I felt good about myself. While I was in the service, I wasn't mad at myself for all the things I had done. While I was away, my brother had continued to deal drugs and was followed home one day. 2 carloads of people began shooting as they made their way up our driveway. My mom and my son's mother were on the porch with my son. According to the cops, the 12th bullet hit my son. He died instantly. His mom died 4 months later from her injuries. I learned what happened when I returned from the service on New Year's Eve. My brother came to me and told me where the people were. Before I knew it, we were in a car heading for revenge. I sat there, house on fire, and opened fire as people came stumbling out of the house. I stood there and waited for the police to show up. I sat in jail and thought, what did I do? 20 years later, I found a reason for living. My mom wrote a letter telling me she would wait for me. After 26 years in Folsom, I got to go home to my mom who was dying of cancer. We talked about everything that had happened, and I told her I was so sorry for all I had done and asked for her to forgive me. Hello, everybody. Is that cool? Are we ready? Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Douglas, and last year I got to share my life story with everybody and where I was at in my life. And I recently graduated from the Visalia Rescue Mission. But as time went on, I started really learning more about what was going on inside of me, and not the hate that I really thought I had for people, but it was anger that I had inside that I couldn't release. And I have to give mostly all the credit to Kenny Holcomb. Kenny took me to the detox and left me in there. I finally got down on my hands and knees and asked God, please just take this feeling away from me. And it happened. But in a way, I think I had to live that life because that way I can start helping people so they don't have to do that way. There's kids out here now I see, and they're so messed up because they don't have no guidance. I mean, their parents are even doing drugs and letting their kids do drugs. I think that's wrong, I've been recently employed here, working at the shelter, and it's truly amazing talking to the people and understanding where they're at in their life. And just as I tell them my story, we communicate pretty good, and I have a good communication with them, and I love working with them. And I really enjoy their company and being helpful so that I can help them in any kind of way. Not just making sure that they get a bed every night, but to sit and listen to them. Sometimes they just need somebody to listen and talk to. I like the way that things are going on in my life, even though it's still a struggle because I've lost a lot. But today, I get to walk around the mission, and it's an enjoyment just to be here. And I really appreciate that what all the people here at the mission have done for me. All the counselors, just everybody. I mean, from people that work in the warehouse to people that work in the program to the store. And mostly I have a real good rapport with the class that I graduated with. It's really amazing to know that there is people out there that do care about you, even though you made big mistakes. All these things started happening when I came to the mission. Going to the mall and then all of a sudden somebody yelling, Dad, Dad, but anybody could say that, but when she yelled out my name, I turned around and it was her, blew me away.
When I saw my dad at the mall, I was really surprised because it had been 2 years since I've seen him. We were pretty close when I was growing up, like when I was with my mom and him, and then when I moved away, we kind of like drifted. And then when I got in foster care, we just totally stopped talking until this past maybe like a couple years. Not even a couple years, just a year maybe.
I started attending school, started going to COS. I got my high school diploma. Going to school to study to become a drug and alcohol counselor even, so I can help people so they don't have to live the life that I lived. One day I was going to class and it was towards the end of the semester. And when I was walking into school, my daughter came running out and she started going to college, and I was like, wow, what a trip, and she just, every time she sees me, she just makes me think, I can't give up. I got to keep going forward. If anything, I want to make her life much better than it is, and by being in her life now, I think it is. I got baptized in the ocean with my daughter.
Oh yeah, we went to the beach and it was our first trip together, so it was so fun, but it was horrible because it was really cold.
That was truly an amazing event.
And he's crazy, so he wanted to get into the water. It was freezing. This was like October. It was cold.
Man, there's no words. I talk to God a lot, and actually He starts answering me and tells me, you're doing a great job, I forgive you for everything you've done. And that's what bothers me sometimes. I wonder if I really am forgiven. But I'm going to keep doing what I'm supposed to do and not give up. How's that sound?